Hi fellow mortals and welcome to a new video. So today's video is for the baby bats or the newer goths. I noticed that a lot of people in my comments and just a lot of people that watch me are new to the goth community, and some of them have been telling me that some of my videos have been pretty helpful to them as a newer goth. So I thought today I would make a video especially for the baby bats or the newer goths, kind of with some advice and some tips and just some little facts about the goth subculture. And I definitely know that I would have wanted to know these things when I was a baby bat. So just to be clear, this video isn't some kind of guide to the music or to the fashion. This is not a how to be goth video. There's already plenty of those kind of videos. This video is more kind of a guide with tips to make you feel more secure as a newer goth and to make your experience as a newer goth as good as possible. Because I feel like as a newer goth, you can be kind of overwhelmed by all the things that you kind of feel like you need to know or need to do. Before I start, please don't forget to check out my Instagram page. I post a lot of other goth content and also updates about my channel on there. And also, if you want to, you can join my Discord server. I will put the link in the description down below. It's a very active community, and if you want to learn more about the goth subculture, especially if you're a newer goth, there's so many people in there who would love to help you without any judgment from them. And lastly, also check out the memberships on my channel. I also want to say a huge thanks to the people who are members on my channel already. I made this video kind of with my own experience and my own opinions. There's definitely some people who think otherwise about the things that I mentioned, but this is the way that I feel, and I feel like most of the people from my community agree with all of these things. So the most important thing that I want to say before I start talking about all the other things is that it's okay to not know everything. Like, you will learn new things about the subculture and the mindset, about the people, about the fashion, about the music, like about the whole subculture every day. And it's totally okay if you didn't know these things before. It would be impossible for you to know everything from the start. And it's also really fun to learn new things. Like, even me, who has been goth for about like 10 years, I still learn new things from people in my Discord server or just people on the internet like every day. So it's okay not to know everything. You can always ask other goths about things that you don't know about. If you ignore the elitist goths, most goths would be really happy to help you and to teach you stuff. So don't be afraid to ask people things, and definitely don't be ashamed if you don't know something. So about this, I always say that you can be goth if you feel like you're goth. If you want to be a part of the subculture, then you can be. Like, nobody can stop you. But I do feel like it's important to know what goth is about and what it's based on, just because it's nice to know what exactly you're getting into. And again, no worries if you didn't know this, because I, as a baby bat, was totally convinced that all goth is a fashion style. But that isn't really everything at all. As I said, there's many guides about this, but I just want to quickly say that goth is a music-based subculture. It comes from goth music, which is not like just metal as some people think. Goth music is, for example, gothic rock, death rock, dark wave. If you want me to name a few bands, I'll just name some of the more popular ones, such as Bauhaus, The Cure, Susie and the Banshees, Sisters of Mercy, London After Midnight. If you want to know what goth music sounds like, definitely look up one of these bands and just listen to a few of their songs. So the subculture is based on music. I just feel like it's important to know at least where this subculture came from, and to at least know the music and hopefully also appreciate the goth music. Another thing I feel like is kind of important for baby bats is to know what things are misconceptions about goths and what things are real about goths. And I know this can take quite a while to like learn these things. Some important things are, for example, some people think being goth is about kink or BDSM, or it's a way to be attractive towards men, like with the style or with just saying that you're a goth girl. This subculture isn't about that. So please, if you get into goth, don't think that the subculture is all about that. Also, a lot of people will assume that you're a Satanist if you're a goth. Just make these people aware that goth isn't about religion. There's goths of all sorts of religions in this subculture. And it's not like you need to be a Satanist to be goth, or that every single goth is a Satanist or something. It's a very, very common misconception that most goths hear a lot. But just know that this subculture isn't about Satanism, and also make sure to let your family know that, because sometimes family can be quite judgy about you being goth. And when they find out that this isn't about Satanism or something, mostly they will be a lot less judgy about it. There's a lot of other misconceptions about goths that I think you should at least be aware of, that these things are thought about goths and that some of these just aren't true. Just to name some other examples, Goths are not all depressed, Goths are not witches, or at least not all Goths are witches, and Goths are not always mentally ill. If you want to know more about these specific misconceptions and what other misconceptions there are, I've made quite a few videos about this. Basically, my entire channel is about debunking misconceptions about Goths, so check out the videos that I made about that on my channel if you want to know more about these misconceptions. Yeah, so I already kind of said this, but if friends or family are being really difficult or judgy about you being a Goth, make sure to just sit down with them and tell them what Goth is about, and that Goth isn't about being depressed or being a Satanist or some kind of obsession with dead people or something. Like, just make sure if people close to you are judging you to explain why you want to be a Goth and what it means for you, and that it isn't some kind of thing they need to be worried about. It's just something you're interested in, and it doesn't have to mean that you're depressed or that you are religious or anything. So yeah, that's just kind of advice for in case people are being annoying about it, because I feel like this often really helps people around you understand you more and be less judgy if they understand what it is about. Something I personally struggled with a lot is that I didn't know any other Goths, so I couldn't really learn much about the Goth subculture, and I also always felt kind of alone in being Goth. So something I would always advise you to do is to find other Goths. You can do this in real life through Goth clubs or maybe Gothic stores. Mostly people who work in Gothic stores are really awesome, and you can ask them questions and you can learn a lot from them. And a lot of these people who work in Goth stores also always know nice places to go as a Goth. So like, for example, Goth clubs. In my experience, going to Gothic stores is just a really great way to meet other Goths. I don't really have alternative or Gothic stores in my area, so I know that can be kind of hard. Most of my experience with like Gothic stores is from Germany or France when I went on vacation. But another good place to find other Goths is just through the internet. There's a lot of places where you can find other Goths and where you can find Gothic communities. It's just really nice to talk to other Goths, so you can kind of talk about your struggles as a Goth, but also just to learn more about being Goth, and also just to feel like you're in a place where you belong. It's just really nice to know other people who have similar interests or who look similar to you, or that kind of stuff, you know? And of course, you can also just do a lot of fun stuff together with these people because they probably have the same hobbies as you do. And I know a lot of places on social media could be quite toxic, like maybe you've already experienced this, but there's some places on the internet that just aren't very welcoming. So I would definitely advise you, if people start being mean to you, if people start blaming you for not knowing things, or if people start calling you a poser or something, just get out of there, because that isn't a good place to be. There's places on the internet that are actually welcoming. Just to name one example, my Discord server is very welcoming, so if you want to find other Goths because you don't know where else to go, definitely just join my Discord server. There's some people who are actually going to a concert together soon who met each other through my Discord server, so it's definitely a great way to find other Goths or to find people who are into the same stuff as you. I know this just kind of sounds like a stupid promotion, but I actually feel like it could help some people. This is something that I feel like I need to say to every single Goth in the world, and I also feel like this is something most baby bats struggle with a lot. Please remember that you are the only one who can decide whether you are Goth or not Goth. As a Goth, especially on the internet, you will definitely encounter some elitist Goths, some people who are kind of gatekeeping the subculture, who are telling you that you are a poser for whatever reason. Like, they can think of the most crazy things. I've been told that I cannot be a Goth because I don't smoke, and I cannot be a Goth because I have eyebrows. Like, what? But there will also be people who have arguments for this that are less crazy. Things like, you cannot be Goth because you don't listen to Goth music enough, or you don't look Goth enough, or you don't act Goth enough. These things can make especially newer Goths feel very insecure, and I totally understand that. Like me, when I was new to being Goth and someone called me a poser, I would feel so bad, and I would just question, like, do I even belong here? I would literally get like some kind of imposter syndrome from that. But please know that every decent Goth would not say this to you. You are the only person who can decide if you want to be part of the Goth community. No one can tell you you are not Goth enough. No one can tell you that they are more Goth than you, because that doesn't exist. You are Goth or you're not Goth, and that is something that you decide. And there's no such thing as not being Goth enough. That is just something that people make up to make you feel insecure and to make themselves feel better. So if you encounter these things on social media, ignore it and find places where people will actually be accepting to you. I also want to add to this that anyone can be goth. You can be any variation of a human being and become a goth. So if people are telling you that you cannot be goth because you are religious, or because you have a certain skin color, or because you have a certain weight or a certain gender, again, those people are just people that are not worth listening to. Anyone can become a goth. Also, just want to quickly mention that apparently on TikTok especially, some people have been saying that only trad goths are a legit goth. Trad goth looks something like this. You do not have to look like that to be a goth. You do not have to be trad goth to call yourself a goth. That is not the only valid type of goth. You can be any variation of a goth you want to and be just as valid and just as goth enough. So please just ignore those type of videos. I know there's some of those videos out there on TikTok. You're not the only one who feels insecure sometimes about being goth. A lot of people are being called poser. Literally, I get called a poser pretty much under every video that I make, even though I've been part of this community for so long. But you need to kind of learn to avoid those kind of people who tell you those things. Most goths are actually super accepting, so you don't need to think that every single goth that you will meet is scary and will call you a poser. All the decent goths, the majority of goths, are super lovely, super welcoming, but there are sometimes people that you'll meet that are a bit gatekeepy, and that's just very unfortunate and very annoying. So something that's kind of related to this, which is something that I know a lot of people are also insecure about. You do not have to look goth. Like, you don't have to look goth at all, but also definitely not every day. It's okay not to know how to do goth makeup. It's okay not to know exactly how to DIY stuff. It's okay not to get your clothes from certain brands. It's okay if you don't wear black every day. It's even okay if you wear colorful things every day. You can be goth and not look like a goth. As I said before, goth is not only about the fashion, it's just a part of the subculture that is kind of an optional thing. It's kind of like, if you want to dress goth, you can, but you can 100% call yourself a goth if you do not look like a goth, if you do not dress in black every day, or if you don't know how to do goth makeup, or if you don't want to. I mean, makeup can be very annoying and very much a struggle and very time consuming, so that's totally fine. There's definitely also just some goths who don't like looking goth. And for a lot of people, especially people who go to school or people who have a job, it's also just not possible to dress like a goth, because I know that if I would go to my work looking this way, they would probably not appreciate that. And again, if you do want to know where you can find gothic clothes or how you can dress as a goth, there's a lot of guides already out there, but yeah, you don't really have to. And if you want to know how to, just watch how other people do it. But please do not listen to people who tell you that you need to buy from expensive brands, because that is just not what this subculture should be about. So you don't have to buy expensive clothes. You can get your clothes wherever you want to. Don't listen to the people who are annoying about that. It's also a big part of the goth subculture to DIY your own clothes. But you don't have to. If you don't know how to, or if you just don't really feel like it, or you don't have the time, you are not obligated to DIY your own clothes. It's just a part of looking goth that can be very fun, just to cut up some clothes or make some clothes look a little more goth by giving it your own touch. So that is something I recommend doing if you like that. Thrift stores are a nice place to find some more old clothing, sometimes also some more alternative clothing for a bit of a cheaper price. I know in a lot of places thrift stores aren't really that cheap anymore, but if in your country or your area you do know some thrift stores that are a bit cheaper, that's definitely a very good place to find goth looking clothes, or clothes that you can use to DIY. But yeah, my point was, you don't have to do that. And one last thing, I've mentioned this before, but there is some people who are very desperately looking for goth girlfriends. This is some kind of weird trend or meme or thing. The goth girlfriend thing, or the objectification of goths, like the hot goth mommy thing. That is very annoying. It's something some goths struggle with. My advice is, please be careful around these people, because most of the time they expect certain things from you that either are unrealistic or that you don't want, and just ignore these people. If you are getting messages on your Instagram or wherever that are gross, just block them, please. Don't feel like you have to be nice to those people. These people are objectifying goths without us wanting that. So it's their fault if you don't reply or if you block them. So please ignore these people and be careful around them. So those were some of the most important things that I feel like newer Goths should know. I really hope I didn't miss anything important. If I did, please let me know in the comments down below. If you have any advice for newer Goths as a Goth, please let us know in the comments down below. And if you're a newer Goth, I really hope this video was helpful and you learned some new things. Again, if you have any questions or if you want to meet other Goths or if you want to talk about your struggles, comment down below or leave me a DM or join my Discord server, because I and the rest of my community would definitely love to help you or to be friends with you. We're always happy to welcome new Goth people, and we're always happy to know that there's still people who are interested in this stuff and who want to become a part of this subculture. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like and a comment under my video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!